The Fueled by Death guest.
So let's start okay, I want to get this out of the way because I think it's great. You guys are just coming back to the States after a European tour with Flogging Molly. How did that all go?
Oh, good. We're old friends, and we've been talking about doing a tour together, and the timing just worked out. Sometimes when you're friends with bands that also tour a lot, it's like two ships passing in the night, you know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe once every 3 years you're on the same festival together. So it was really nice to spend, like 3 solid weeks with people you like. It's nice. It's like this tour, we're old friends with everybody. And not that we often have bands we don't like on tour, you know what I mean? But, it's just nice when it's people you know and you're comfortable with, and there's no, sometimes, if all it takes is like the band to have like one friggin' diva in it, and there's just a bad vibe backstage. I've had to have talks like that many a time with people in the opening acts and be like, hey, listen, who the fuck do you think you are?
Right.
We're trying to have a good time, Don't take yourself lighten up, Francis. And
are you getting good at having those kind of talks now?
yeah, I'm like the dad. I'm like the dad on the tour, or like an old school dad that's like threatening to hit you with a paddle. That kind
good.
of guy, you know what I mean?
So like a real dad.
No, but when it's guys you just, even if it's nice people that you just never met, there's still that feeling out process when you're touring with old friends. It's just so like, it's fun from get-go,
Yeah,
So.
and this is the first, it's crazy to think that both of you as bands have been around for so long. This is the first time that you guys have really been able to do a bunch of dates.
One time, we've done some random festivals, and one time we did a show, planned together with both of us in Philly. And but that was the only time, so, but there's also that theory when you see it in metal a lot. They package up and pop acts, but like there is a bit of that theory of like if you're similar enough bands, does 1 + 1 equal 2? Mm-hmm. Sometimes 1 + 1 might equal 1.5, and then you're not really doing either of yourselves a favor. But man, on the European tour, 1 + 1 = 4. You know what I mean? So
wow.
It was, I think because it becomes like an event you don't want to miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are traveling for it and stuff. But it was fun.
I was following you guys on social media and everything you were posting from every night. It just seemed like the crowd got bigger and bigger and bigger. And you guys do Europe pretty much on the regular every year, right?
Yeah, Europe's our biggest market, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know. I think it's, maybe they don't have 2,000 TV channels to watch at home, and, they just still go out for their entertainment or whatever. But, also for a band of our nature, like we've been able to work our way up the festival circuit,
Mm-hmm.
with, there's more and more festivals here, but even the festivals here are a little like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the right word, you got to be like the flavor of the month on the festivals.
Right.
And so it kind of mirrors radio in a way, So for us throughout our career to not really be a radio band, but to go on to these Europe festivals and keep climbing the slots, to be, getting to bigger crowds and stuff has really helped our career over there. So, and they're just so, not to diss American fans, but like they're just so vocal. It's that nature of like the soccer. They're singing all the words. Like last night we played the Mohegan Sun Arena, and it was a great show for America.
Yeah.
But like there's a couple of parts where you're just like expecting the whole audience to sing every word. And you're like, oh shit, we're back in America. You know what I mean? I better get on that mic. So it's different,
A lot of bands talk about that, and I think you kind of said it. I think like Americans, we have too much in the form of entertainment. 2,000 channels and the whole nine.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of bands when they talk about going to Europe or Asia or even Great Britain and stuff. They always talk about like people go to a show. That's the thing to do is to go see live music. It's a shame that we don't have that in America.
Well, I hear the Midwest is more like that, right? Because they don't have
As much to
to
They don't
do.
have cable yet?
They just don't have as many channels.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not, I think obviously people still go out to shows here, but I do think that for a lot of bands, they tend to be bigger over there. I don't really know. I also think people that like the scenes, the different genres cross over more.
Yeah.
Like on the festivals, it could be like us, then 50 Cent, then Metallica. Like it's just,
Right.
like, and people are just like, yeah, music. Here it's like, I don't go to that music. I go to this music.
Right.
And so everything's a little more smaller and divided. But in general, it's really hard for like a European band to come crack America, like touring wise and stuff.
Yeah.
Because in Europe, they really go they also take like way better care of the bands, like with like even in our early days, not only feeding you but like making sure you cry. They'll arrange in some place for you to sleep and everything when you're starting out, and it's just a different mentality, But we love America. Love you too.
I gotta ask then, will we ever see a Dropkick Flogging Molly touring in the States?
Maybe stay tuned for an announcement.
I love it. I love it. Well, good. I hope so, because like I said, and like you said, it looked like you guys had a ton of fun out there.
At the
Great
end
response.
of this, I'll tape a breaking news. You heard it here first, with Death Wish.
Okay.
But when and if it ever becomes official, then you can cut it in.
I love it. I love it.
Perfect.
I love it. Okay, that's perfect.
Or I'll be like, announcing now, Dropkick Murphys flogging Molly this summer in June.
There it is.
Announcing now, Dropkick Murphys and flogging Molly this summer in July. And we'll just keep doing that.
We'll just keep going.
If it ever
until we get
happens,
one
we'll be
right.
covered. Yeah,
perfect. I love it.
So you guys are like extremely obviously well received here, and obviously super well received in Europe. How's it go in like
we're getting
Ireland?
the key to the city in Albany today.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Was
Like-
it open?
Like, we're big in Albany. I think we only got it because it's a Sunday, so they didn't have like anyone else to give it to today.
I love it.
No, but it's nice when people. I think it's because it's the first show in this venue. It's
Yeah, you guys
downtown.
are christening this venue, the Albany
We're
Capital
sparking
Center.
some, some real interest in the downtown. The Sundays down here. It's like this tumbleweed blowing down.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but I mean, we're so lucky to be able to go where we go and travel, and
How's it go in Ireland for you guys?
Oh,
is that
good,
crazy
yeah. No,
for you?
it's always been really good. I mean, the world now in the internet age, it's not so like in the beginning. It would be like, where's your pockets of popularity based on how many times you went there?
Yeah.
Even like, what band were you friends with that maybe you got good shows going together in the early days. Now it's like, people really know what they're getting and what you do and how you are based on, they can just YouTube like every show, So, but even before the internet was really a big play, I think just the nature of like the punk rock word of mouth, I think we had a very, obviously if you're playing New York, you're going to have more people than in a city that has, 200,000 people in it.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a pretty across the board, whereas, like going back to like the radio days, if it was a band that was a radio band, they might be like, oh, we're big in this because this station plays this, but then nobody knows us here. We never had that. We had like a pretty good, loyal, even following across the board,
And talking about your early days, when the band started, it's a known story, and I've actually heard you say before that it was a bet to start the band. And that was back in '96. When did this become? Was there a tipping point with Dropkick Murphys where you guys were just kind of playing in the beginning and having a good time, and then it was like, oh, I want to have it as a career? Or did the career just kind of like fall into place?
Yeah, we never thought of music as a career.
Never.
Never. But at some point you had to say, I can't hold my day job and do this, But it was always kind of like, so when the band started, I was back in school trying to get my special ed teaching degree, and I was bartending. So I was going to school in the day and bartending nights at Symphony Hall, where the symphony plays in Boston, and killer job. Like I was like kind of started as just functions and stuff, but you actually, the way you got like your own official bar was when like someone had to die to get it, and a guy died that worked there like 50 years, and I got his bar, and and the symphonies closed in the summer, so it was a lot of teachers because they all worked 2 jobs, and then they got the summers off, and that's what my head was at the time, summers off.
Right.
So anyway, a kid that I worked with there was like, he went to Berkeley School of Music, and he was like, you're always talking about starting a band. I dare you to open for my band. It was 3 weeks notice, and we did it as a joke, and I had the notes taped on the back, and just faking our way through it. But we actually wrote a couple songs, and anyway, then it was like a couple more local shows, and then like a couple of band would say, hey, come up and play with us in New Hampshire. Oh, I can do that around work. Oh, you should come down to New York, and then it was like, you should do this weekend. And then, we got offered some tours, and the Boss Tones offered to take us, all around the country into Europe. And actually, even before the Boss Tones, we did another U.S. tour, and you're just trying to like hold on to things and not burn bridges. And I took a leave of absence from school, and I went to Symphony Hall, and I said, can you hold my job if I take a little leave of absence? And they said, sure. And it's funny because every year I go with my family, we bring the kids and stuff they call it the Christmas Pops. It's like the symphony playing Christmas songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I go out and see all the bartenders. They're all still there, and they just redid the bars. Next to each bar, they had like a little closet / kind of hangout room, that if no one was there yet, you could kind of hang in there. Mm-hmm. And they tore those down. And they said when they were tearing them down, this is a good 20 years after I left, there was like people would hang their work clothes. They found my shirt and pants, my work clothes, and they were like, wow. I was like, man, that's not very cleanly right there.
Yeah, right. Hanging there for years.
But my point is, for many, many years, I'm like, still holding my job, right? So there was a good point where it had to be our jobs or our full-time occupation. But even at the same time, we were like, this is fun, but we got to go back to the real world at some point. And I don't really ever remember having a moment where I said, I don't have to go back to my real job, because who knows? So you might be back there someday. Who knows?
You still kind of have that mentality that one day the fun times, the party's going to be over.
Well, I don't think it's in that sense, but I think what job in the world now is like nothing's for, there's few and far jobs between now where you're going to retire and the job you started, and I think we just don't think of it as a job. I mean, it is what we do, but it's like a blessing, more than like. So when it's over, it won't be like, oh, that sucks, it's over. I think we'll legitimately be like, wow, I can't believe we got 20, as of right now, 21 years. I mean, that's way over the curve of what we were shooting for,
How much longer do you think you could do it for?
I mean, we're young at heart. It's just the schedule we keep on is a little tough just because we have kids.
Yeah.
So we're trying to like balance life, and it's it's a great opportunity, but you're leaving for that first day of Europe, and you're not going to see your kids in 3 weeks. It's like, I don't know if you guys liked school when you were kids, but it's how I'd feel like starting in mid-August when I knew I had to go back to school in September, just like, oh. Yeah. So it's bittersweet, you love your job, but you miss your family.
Yeah.
So, but could be in Afghanistan, so it's not something to complain about either. So you balance it in your head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of family, I think this is such an interesting thing about Dropkick Murphys. You guys have had a lot of members throughout the years, on and off, some new, some old, but you seem to always be this tight-knit group. When you get new members in the band, do you do an audition process, or is it just kind of
no? It's always been people we knew or friends. I mean, like we were a 4-piece, and then James joined as the second guitarist, and he was in bands, the Ducky Boys, and all these bands we played with, and we knew him well from the start of our career. So it was like, James is in the band, and it was like seamless, and then Ryan Foltz, who was like our first multi-instrument guy, he's a funny story because he just showed up like at a show in Cleveland one time and got up on stage and just like brought BYO banjo or whatever he brought, and we're like, hey, you're pretty good. You want to be in the band? And he was funny because he stayed and then he left because he wanted to be like a front of house guy. It's interesting with people, like sometimes it's not, what they thought it was cut out to be, and we're not very glamorous. We don't we're pretty, we treat it as a business. We're not like living, lavishly on the road. We're not, we're just like, it is what it is, sometimes people, or musically, but we've never really had falling outs, and we've never had a weirdness when people come in. It's kind of like, I've always kind of said, love it or leave it. Like, do not stay in this band if you can't make yourself happy with the touring. If you want to play a different kind of music, don't try and turn Dropkick Murphys into like a pop band because you want to write different songs. You know, and there's been people that have been like, yeah, I want to do different music, and we'll say like, then you should go do it. You know what I mean? But that attitude, I think if you treat it like the whole thing is not Dropkick Murphys isn't the end all be all, in the sense it's like, if you want to do something else, man, do it. We'll be all right. You know, like I always say that the band is bigger than any of the members anyway, because it's more like a thing than a band, you know. So
It definitely is. You guys have such a unique position in the music industry, whereas a lot of bands will start, to either, want to tour the world or be famous, or, write the music they want to write. And you guys at your heart are obviously writing the music and performing the music that you want to write, but you are now ingrained in other parts of that industry that lots of bands aren't, such as sports. Like you guys, have done so much with the Boston Red Sox, the Patriots, the Bruins, and also, Boston as a city at large, like, embraces you guys. Is like, that can't be something that you guys set out to do, but has it changed your mentality being in the band now that you have these other aspects to it?
no, it's just they were all natural things. Like, I mean, like Boston supported the band. I always say it's like we had good support in the city, not so much coming from the sports teams back down as from even in the beginning. We were starting out where just grew up there, knew a lot of people, and it was that homegrown support where it's 6 degrees of separation to probably everyone in the city of Boston, whether they were a relative or a friend or grew up with somebody. So there was that kind of like, not like a band that went to college there and said, "Oh yeah, we're from Boston." You know what I mean? Like we actually, had roots and knew people, and then the sports things were really just, they were really, sometimes people were like, "Oh yeah, you did that as a marketing thing," and I'm like, well, if we did, it would have been a great idea.
Yeah.
But sadly, I did it because I love the fucking teams,
Right.
And there would be nothing wrong with doing it as a marketing thing. But like, we wrote the song "Time to Go" about the Bruins, and that was just, song was just about my experience of how, as a teenager, early teens, when you get to that age where you're going to Bruins games on your own with your friends, taking the subway to the game, and that coming up onto Causeway Street and what the old Causeway Street used to be like, and that excitement of like, I'm going to a Bruins game, and it was like about being a fan,
Yeah.
And that song kind of got, not like over the top accepted by the Bruins, but they would play it, and that was like kind of our first connection to sports. And then the Red Sox, obviously, when they asked us to remake the song Tessie, and
So they approached you.
they approached us.
Wow.
And they said, we want you to redo this old song. And I said, send me the song. And then I said, oh, we're in, send me the song. And then they sent me the song, and I said, we're out.
We're out.
Because it was just horrible song. It was a Broadway song. It was a woman singing about how she tells all her secrets to her parrot. Whatever.
Yeah.
But it was popular at the time. So what the Red Sox Royal Rooters fans would do is take that song and change the names to make it about like ragging on the other pitchers and stuff. So we took the melody, kept the melody, and changed a bunch of words to be about the history of the time frame. Us and a great sports writer for the Herald, Jeff Horrigan, who knew a lot of the names and facts from the early 1900s. I'm a big Red Sox fan, but I don't really go back to the night. I knew about the Ruth trade and a lot of that, but and really that connection happened more because of the fact that they won. That became so big. I mean, I have one of my proudest things of everything we've done in the band is July of 2004. I have a Boston Herald article framed on my wall about when we released the song Tessie, and I said, I guarantee a World Series.
Yes.
And I meant it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
freaking
I meant
right.
it. I was talking out my ass because I was like, I mean it. I feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. And then if we don't win, everyone will forget. But no, but I don't know. I felt it. You know what I mean? And so when we won, that was, that kind of, and then I always say, we've only been asked back 2 other years and by the Red Sox to perform on the field in the playoffs, and that was 2007 and 2013, and those are the 2 other World Series in this century. So We're 3 for 3.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll go again. I think we'll just it's like
We did it.
Yeah, we'll stay pat and don't hit me.
But speaking on that too, famously, the Red Sox closer Papelbon used "Shipping Up to Boston" as his walkout music and stuff like that. When that kind of happens, is that again the team contacting you guys for the ability to use that, or does he just do it and it just kind of?
I forget what happened there. I want to say like I'm a little foggy here, but I think like one of the radio stations like WBCN or something did a contest like should Papelbon use like Wild Thing or Shipping Up to Boston, and I think that's what led to him using it.
That's awesome.
Obviously, we're not going to say no. We did say no when he went to Philly,
right?
But that wasn't even in a like no. It was more like someone asked me in an article, can he still do it when he goes to Philly? And I said, well, why would he want to do it? It says Shipping Up to Boston.
Yeah.
And then the article headline was Dropkicks say no to Jonathan Papelbon. I don't really care what, I think it would be hilarious if they were saying Shipping Up to Boston and Philly. People are like, what? But no, that's been good to us. I mean, people, when he would come in and everyone standing up and clapping the song, it was awkward for me as a Red Sox season ticket holder because you can't be up like, to your own songs. So I'm like, but it was obviously when the closer's coming in, everyone's in a good mood because you're winning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And because I'm such a Red Sox fan, I just want to ask too, what was it like performing on the field, being able to do that?
I mean,
like all of Boston Strong, the whole nation there.
Yeah, I mean, they all were. I mean, we were like kids in a candy store. I remember we filmed a video for Tessie, and we went out and shot it on the field, and then, but the greenskeeper was like, yeah, you can't go on the field, because of the grass, so we were shooting it kind of around the edges and playing out there, and then I came up with this idea because I was like, I didn't think of this. I want to catch balls against the Green Monster, so we called up the Red Sox and like, we got to finish this video. And they were like, okay. And it's just, he's going to catch balls against the Green Monster. And it wasn't even for the video. We just lied because I wanted to go with this. So my friend came with a camera. And I'm up there. And they were doing a tour of, like, kids from a school, like third graders. And the kids are all just walking by, like, looking at me like, oh, I'm so jealous. That guy's getting to catch balls against the Green Monster. So, like, we're using every – I remember when we did we played before the Winter Classic at Fenway, when they played the the hell did we beat in overtime? Was it Philly?
Philly, yeah.
And they sent us, the NHL sent us our credentials like 2 weeks in advance, and which was a big mistake because the rink was there and there was all kind of corporate rentals, but we had like these all access, like go anywhere you want passes.
Yeah.
So I was just on the regular bringing huge amounts of people in to skate on the ice, and it might have been like some corporate event, but I'm like, right this way, guys, we're out there skating,
all access,
and
all
like
access.
the Teamsters and all these guys that were running the thing were like, what the, then I said, don't ever send the drop kicks, their passes 2 weeks early. So we've got a lot of, and then the ultimate really was, I was on the field in St. Louis. That was really the ultimate when we won in 2004. And, my grandfather, who was 86 at the time, so the year he was born was the last time they won. He's since deceased, but I got to, call him from the field. That was like, man. And that was cool. And then in 2013, we sang the anthem at the World Series clinching game, and it was a home game.
Yeah.
That was our first out of the 3 that we won at home. So I have my kids there and family, and my kids are running the bases and sliding into home, and I'm like, man. Now, when I was a kid, I used to get to do a few things that I thought were as cool as could be. My grandfather was friends with Johnny Pesky, who was,
awesome.
A legend for the Red Sox. And so after the games, just a regular game, like if we stayed and waited them, and he knew all the cops, they'd like let me out on the field and dive on the field like I was Fred Lynn or something. So I thought like I had it made beyond what any kid could ever do on the field of Fenway. And then I'm watching my kids, like, my kids and like Big Poppy's kids are like racing around the bases.
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, I hope these little shits appreciate this someday, because because I'm always like, do you realize? But the younger kids of the generation of Boston sports, they're so used to winning. They're kind of like, what? Won't I be back here doing this next
right?
year? You know?
Yeah, it was
And
84 years before
my
that.
daughter actually, you know, after we sang the anthem, we played "Shipping Up to Boston" on the field, and my daughter does at the time did Irish step dancing, and her school there was 8 girls from on each of the on deck circles.
Yeah,
dancing. So it's like
that was so cool.
She got to dance on the field, so it's like. Most of my sports kind of things now are more like the fact that my kids got to be on and be part of it in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, speaking on sports, I got to ask, what made you want to start a boxing promotion?
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yes.
No, I was a friend of mine, Danny O'Connor, Boston area kid. He was a 2008 Olympic alternate in Beijing, turned pro, following his career, watching, man, this kid was in the Olympics. It's so tough. Like, he had a newborn baby. He's trying to train down with his trainer in Houston, get ready for fights, supposed to sell tickets, promote himself. And I was just like, I can help you with this, you know? And I really just thought I'd be introducing him to the Dropkicks fans. And then it's really like quicksand, you know. It's like, wow, you need that? Oh, I can do that. You know, we can put on a show for you. Well, I don't know if I can promote a concert. I can do a boxing show. And then you're like, well, if we're doing it for one guy, I might as well help these fighters. Fast forward 6 years later, we have probably 20 fighters signed to promotional contracts. Probably have maybe 5 or 6 that are in the top 15 in the world.
Yeah.
One that's number 1 in the world with a guaranteed title shot coming up. Another one that just had a big knockout win on HBO and signed a huge 2-fight deal for his next 2 fights on HBO.
So awesome.
So it's like, but I think what the boxing has done for me is like re-energize my promotional side, because like in the early days of Dropkicks, you really had to push it up the hill, and now it's on autopilot. And when I say it's on autopilot, it's because like we have the best people working for us, friends that have been with us for 10 years, and they know their job. And I can say like, and I never thought it would be this way. To say like, hey, what time do I got to be there to go on stage? Like, instead of like, what time do I got to do this? And now with boxing, I'm back on. I gotta do it. You know what I mean? And but it's kind of re-energized that, you know, like it's, you know, because boxing, you know, isn't what it used to be, but it's kind of on an upswell again. And particularly in Boston, there's a lot of great fighters, and you know, if we can, you know, use whether it's our connections or our ability to promote or just our love for the sport to kind of drive, you know, you know, it's great, you know, and I also feel like I'm in my 40s, you know, like it's an awesome thing for like either a father, son, or whatever to do, or guys my age, because like, you know, you're not going to the club anymore. You know, not that I really ever went to the club, but you know, it's a good way night out. You can see your friends. It's not somewhere where the music's playing, you can't talk to. It's like people like enjoy that it's going, and obviously culturally, like I promote a lot of fighters from Ireland as well, and you know, they've traditionally had a big kind of home base in Boston, so it's nice to kind of keep that going, you know.
Yeah, no, it's so great, and not only, I mean, doing that, I mean, you got the band going,
and want to thank Death Wish for their support of Murphys Boxing, one of our
and
favorite sponsors.
And I was gonna say, not only with Murphys Boxing on top of the band, another thing that we were so happy to support and help you guys out with is your Claddagh Fund. And I just wanted you to talk a little bit briefly on that too, like, how did you guys get into working with a charity and that kind of thing?
So we were always, the band always had this attachment to charity stuff, whether it was just because, you know, it was our way of making, like not being like musicians at heart, there was always something we couldn't like rectify in ourselves, like, oh, we should have a real job, you know what I mean?
Right.
So doing like charity work made the band feel more like a real job, you know, like you were paying it back or whatever.
Yeah.
And, so I think about 2009 now, we decided to start our own foundation, and you know, because we're always doing little things for people here and there, and when we did it under our own umbrella, it really
Bless you.
live podcast. When we did it under our own umbrella of the Claddagh Fund, it really got all the fans got behind it, like, you know, this is our thing too. And crazy support in the sense that, you know, sometimes in this world you run into guys that have been successful and they have a company and they say, I want to, you know, write a check from some big corporation, or, you know, you got great companies like Death Wish that'll like want to get involved. And then sometimes you get like just a kid who's like, I mean, we literally have got like $5 bills cash in the mail from a kid who's saying, you know, and I'm sure his parents probably, you know, whatever, but it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, and we've raised, I don't even know what, over $2 million plus, and, you know, we help people in the Boston area and substance abuse programs. We help veterans programs and a lot of just children's related charities. So we're kind of just partner up with other people, but we use our abilities to raise funds. You know, even we have 2 friends on the whole tour that volunteered their time to come, and they're doing raffles and selling Claddagh Fund T-shirts, and, you know, they'll raise $75,000 on this tour just from that. You know, so
that's,
you know,
that's so excellent. I can hear you. You're probably getting ready for a sound check, so we'll wrap this up. But this is the question we ask everybody on this show. And for someone like you who, you know, has been in the music industry for so long, on top of now, you know, doing all of your charity work, doing the stuff with Murphy's Boxing, and probably 1,000 other things that you're doing, what fuels you to keep doing that?
coffee.
Thank you. That's an extra $10 in our check. but for real though, like, what fuels you to keep going out there and doing these different things, especially on top of it being a rock star?
Well, you're out meeting people, seeing the world, like chasing life, living it. You know what I mean? It's like, I would assume it's what everyone would dream to be able to do, to be their own boss. And, you know, I'm the type of person that would rather work 23 hours a day as my own boss than punch a clock. You know what I mean? And I know if it's an entrepreneurial spirit or whatever, but you know, it's what kind of motivates me in life. The grass is always greener, I suppose, right? You could say, oh man, you know, it stinks to be away from home, but like you said, I think if I was ever at home all the time, I'd be like, oh, remember when I used to get to go there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never left Boston before the band. Like, now I went to Florida once to visit my grandparents, and they moved down there. So it's like, you know, seeing the whole world after that is pretty awesome, man. I look at my passport sometimes, and I'm just like, holy shit.
That's so
How did I get to
cool.
all these places? You know, I saved every laminate that we've a tour laminate.
Awesome.
Because that's really, you could try to save all the newspaper articles or whatever, but to me, like, the tour laminates in one Ziploc bag encompassing, you know, 20 years of touring. Well, we couldn't afford laminates in the early days, but probably encompassing the last 15 years of touring. I just look at those sometimes and go like, wow, you know. So it's cool to be able to look back on it like that, you know. And wouldn't trade it for the world, and we'll do it as long as we have the good fortune to have people, you know, asking us back, you know.
That's so great. And I mean, so you guys just got back from your European tour. You're now on a U.S. tour now, going into probably one of your busiest times of the year, the St. Patrick's Day, which we were so excited to do a joint mug with you guys for St. Patrick's Day.
So
towards the
mug,
Claddagh Fund.
the mug. Is it when does it hit the streets?
When this airs, it'll already be out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
my phone's blowing up. With people like, dude, how do I get? I'm like,
Yep,
you know?
yeah. When this airs, it's gonna already be out. So we can say the date.
The 5th and the 6th.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you do something that, like, you know, has you as a person excited. I mean, I look at that mug, and you know, I was sent the pictures along the way, and I'm just like, man, that thing is cool.
It's so cool.
And to see the demand that you guys have built up in the whole series and stuff, and be able to take that to our fans and the amount of money, and it's so great when you can, you know, and that's the type of thing, like, you guys have that kind of built-in support, and so do we, that people would buy it just because, you know, they're supporting charity. You know what I mean? And then they get something cool on top of it, so it's really cool. I'm excited about that mug.
I am too. I
too.
love
But
it.
I think what
Everybody
we
is.
want to do is take some of the ones that we'll get and raffle them every night. So if you're coming to a Dropkick Murphys show on this tour, you'll be able to get an already exclusive limited edition mug, but then signed by all the band members, and you can buy a raffle ticket, and someone will win one every night.
That's so awesome. I'm really excited about this
And then you can come back and we'll have a coffee backstage.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I love this version of the mug because it's a big 20-ouncer.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously you can have a pot of coffee in there. You could put your beer in there. I always say on this show, one of my favorite.
It's damn chili.
I love chili. I love to eat chili out of it. It's like the best.
He's always
chili
putting
bowl.
chili in his
It's
mugs.
because you can get a nice hot bowl of chili, but you got a handle for it. You
Handle,
just eat it all up.
yes.
It's the freaking best. I'm just saying.
It's really great to be able to, take this fan base, this cool little object and turn it into a charity.
Yeah,
and
no,
like
it's
be able
amazing.
to make it benefit to people who need it. It's really cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool because the amount of money raised is a legit amount of money. You guys are generous. Sometimes people are like, we'd like to do this joint project, and we'd like to give you 1/10 of 1 cent for every
Right.
20 mugs you
yeah.
sell.
Right, nope.
This is going to raise like a lot of money for
Yeah.
charity and help a lot of people. So buy a mug.
We're very, very excited. And finally, you guys are on the heels of your 9th studio album came out last year. Are you actively writing the 10th one? Or you guys?
Yeah, we
have
never
you started?
we have some songs. We have probably like 8 or 9 songs that are some in the finish, some in the developmental stage. We're not in a real hurry to, because we did 2 albums back to back, like 2
Yeah.
years apart, and I like to. I just don't like to be like I wanted to do one of those albums where you just don't tell anyone, you just drop it.
Yeah.
The Beyonce.
Yeah, and our manager said, that's all well and good in theory, but unless you're Beyonce,
Darn it.
no one knows it came out. And what I mean is I didn't really want to go through the whole like promotional ramp up because I just felt like, I'm grateful to the people who want new music and stuff, but I also don't like to be like, we don't like to be like, here we are again. in the
Right.
face, So it's
Yeah.
like, kind of like, let's let another year go by and take the time to write more songs. And we were really happy with what we got. Matter of fact, at the time, we were even talking about doing a double album on the last one. And you know what? Those double albums, people getting back to that changing times. It's like
Yeah.
people can barely take an album at a time because they
Right.
used to
Yeah.
just singles. People are
Yeah.
starting to do things where they release like a song a month and then an album at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So to do a double album and hand someone 22 songs, like in today's ADD kind of mindset
Totally.
of music, it'd be like, hey, what did you think of the second of the double album? Oh, I haven't got to that yet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A year later. So
Could you release something like that in Europe though, with attention span being a little bit more?
no, I
together
just
there?
said they come to concerts. I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily their attention
Yeah.
span's good. I don't know.
The industry as a whole, we really have kind of harkened back to that whole, 1950s mentality where the single is the
Yeah.
commodity, not the full album anymore.
Well, it's nice too that speaking of singles, at least that vinyl has made a comeback.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how we really got our start. Is all we did all singles because that's how if you wanted to check out a band, you got their single because
Right.
you didn't want to go buy a CD at the time or whatever the store was, Barnes and Nobles or someone that was selling
Right.
it for $20. Which is probably what led to the demise of if the record labels hadn't have been so greedy back in the day overcharging for a CD, people might not have tried so hard to find a way to download it illegally or stream it, whatever.
Yeah.
But we've always and then we did a lot of split singles with other bands and your fan base and that's always been a huge thing for us with the vinyl, and it's I think I want to say like 25% or a third of our sales from our first week of last album were all vinyl.
Oh wow,
That's excellent.
That's
That's
great.
pretty cool. Because now, if you want the thing to hold in your hand, you're not gonna go get the CD.
Right.
I don't. Kids give me CDs on tour. I'm like, I don't even have a CD player. My car doesn't even have a CD player.
Yeah, it's true.
It's sad to say, but like my daughter, who's now 16, when she was last year for Christmas, when she was 15, she asked for a record player. It's like, that's cool.
That's
and She
cool.
didn't do it from me
Pushing
it on
yeah.
her. So
I got one for my birthday yesterday.
Oh,
Happy
awesome.
We've done this whole broadcast, and you didn't somehow bring up your birthday.
I did at the end though. I had to sneak it in there.
Well, guess
couldn't
what?
help
Well, guess
myself.
what? It's not your fucking birthday anymore.
Damn right. Damn right. Damn right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, man.
Well, we can't thank you enough for taking time.
Oh, we can't
before the
thank you
show.
enough for everything you've done for the Dropkick Murphys. We love Death Wish, and we of the charitable spirit, and just how much fun you guys have with what you're doing. I'm a big fan of the Instagram and everything, and
thanks a lot.
It's cool to see people enjoying what they're doing.
Well, I know that then it's safe to say that Dropkick Murphys and Death Wish Coffee will be doing lots more in the future together. For
Hell yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
Again, thanks a lot for talking with us.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Thank you.
man.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.